Hey everyone, my name is Olga and I'm happy to see you here in this new video. And today we're gonna try some interesting products from Colourpop. But before we start, I want to share with you some additional information. So if you live in the EU, you have to pay the taxes for sure as soon as you order something from the USA. So unfortunately, I had to pay taxes as well, and I had to pay around 21 euro for my order. My order was around $75, something like this, and yeah, 20 euro extra. So if you wanna make an order from Colourpop from their official website, take it into account, and I do suggest buying everything on sales. They do have quite nice sales time to time, and for instance, when I made an order, they had 30% off on everything. So knowing this, anyway, I kind of saved a little bit, but yeah, not that nice in overall. So, okay, take a seat and let's start doing our lovely makeup, and later on we are going to discuss everything. Before we start trying our new products, let me tell you what I've used today as a foundation and as a concealer. My foundation for today is from House Labs in shade 110, and actually I'm extremely impressed by this product. We're gonna try it quite soon together, but still, just a quick review. It looks extremely beautiful on skin, doesn't emphasize anything, and it's so easy to work with it. As a concealer, well, actually I've used two and I had a mix. In order to cover some dark circles, I used Manhattan, actually it's Rimmel, in shade 20, and it's clean and free line. And for making something slightly brighter, I used a concealer from Essence. It's called Stay All Day 13 Hours shade. Which shade? Which shade? I don't know. I think it's the first one, but I'm not quite sure. Sorry. Sorry, I don't know. I really don't know because nothing is written here. Okay, anyway, but still, this product is quite nice. Really, it's a beautiful concealer which doesn't cost a lot. Okay, never mind. Back to our beauties, and we are gonna start our makeup, yeah, at some point, from a bronzer in shade Laguna Beach, actually. And just look at it. It reminds me a product from Kika Milana, and yeah, I think that this one is quite familiar to Kika Milana. But anyway, I'm gonna apply it using a brush. Please stop applying everything directly on your face. Please, please, please. Grabbing a brush, grabbing a little bit of a product, making sure that everything is spread out fully. Is fully spread out, sorry. And now it's time to apply. It's extremely easy to work with this product. If you're new to makeup, it's definitely your choice. Pigmentation is between low and average, and if you prefer something more pigmented, it's probably not your choice. But in case you prefer more daily looks, it's a good choice. The shade itself is quite nice. I would say it's kind of neutral. It's not that super orange, it's not that super red. It's extremely, extremely neutral. And it's so easy to work with it. But be aware that you can't really keep such products as it is. You have to apply a powder over them, just in order to make sure that such products stay the whole day. It wouldn't work in case of oily prone skin, because this product doesn't stay. And even if you apply a powder over it, it may not work. Now we are gonna try a blush in shade Whole Mood, and same thing. Pigmentation here is not that super high, and if you prefer something more pigmented, not your choice. But in case of daily looks, should work nicely. I'm gonna apply it using a brush, and by the way, we have a mirror here. And let's take a look. Talking about the shade, it's not neutral, not really. It's slightly more warm because it contains a little bit of peachiness, so it's slightly peachy. It's easy to blend it, and probably, most likely, you can layer this product, but it doesn't stain as well. So it's not a super long lasting product, and for sure you have to apply powder over it just in order to blend everything together. Taking a brush with my bronzer and blending everything. But still, the product itself is quite nice. Eye makeup, and actually we have quite many products to try. I've decided to take this lovely shadow sticks in 2 shades. The first one, Honey BB, and it's a metallic shade. The second one, Cocktail Party. In this case, it's a matte version. They look extremely beautiful, and I'm not quite sure that we're gonna try both of them today. Eyeliners, and they are quite nice as well. I'm not quite sure about the shades. I'm gonna leave everything in the description box, but the first one, it looks like something slightly pink, but in real life it doesn't seem that pink. Yeah, at least for me. The second one is a multi-chrome, and it shifts from purple to blue and to dark blue, and it looks so beautiful. The texture is extremely creamy, and it's really amazing. And as well, I've decided to take liquid eyeshadow. It also looks beautiful. It shifts from green and yellow to something pink, but I'm not also quite sure we're gonna apply it directly on the eyelid. Plus, I picked up 2 eyeshadow palettes. Sure, we are not gonna try all of them, but most likely I will film some short videos, at least several tutorials, because I'm not quite sure it makes sense to film 2 additional videos, because these 2 palettes were released last year. Probably in November or in October, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, so most likely I'm gonna use this palette and a little bit of 11 and 11. And let's try to do following. I'm gonna apply matte version and I'm gonna blend it slightly, and we are gonna use it as a makeup base at some point. And I'm gonna, at least I wanna apply this particular eyeliner on the eyelid, at least in the center, and probably this one as well. We'll see how it goes. Okay, we're gonna start from shadow stick in shade Cocktail Party, and I have to blend it for sure. So grabbing a brush, time to try. Starting from the crease, I'm not gonna apply it directly on my eyelid, on the crease and in the outer corner and a little bit in the inner corner. The stick itself is so creamy, good. Pigmentation is quite high, and as you can see, it's quite easy to blend it. I love it. It's so creamy and it's so soft, and it's extremely easy to work with it. So yes, definitely yes, at least for now. Now we're gonna try 1111. Taking a fluffy brush, and I'm gonna use shade Good Thoughts, and it's gonna be our crease shade. So taking it right here and applying it over my cream eyeshadows. Now it's time to change the brush. I'm taking the one which is slightly smaller, and I'm gonna grab this particular shade from Cloud 9 palette. This shade is dusty, and it's quite expected for Colourpop, at least. I'm gonna apply it in the outer corner gonna blend it out slightly and gonna apply it as well in the inner corner, just a little bit. Changing the brush and gonna apply it this shade in the same area, but slightly less. Starting from the outer corner, and I'm gonna start from the darkest part. Applying and blending. Changing the brush, grabbing the previous one, and blending everything together. And now I'm not quite sure about this shade. Let's try to apply it at least a little bit in the center. So we are gonna check the shade, and I'm gonna blend it. So taking a brush. Well, it definitely has a base and it's slightly gray. So in our case, it's fine, but it's not that easy to blend this product. Okay, happens. Okay, let's keep it this way. I'm gonna take the lighter shade and gonna apply it in the center. I'm still gonna have metallic shades over, but I wanna add a little bit of white. But yeah, it looks more blue. It appears. It looks quite strange, but okay. Gonna add these lovely shades in the center over my eyeliner. The shade itself is quite dry. Applying over and a little bit above the crease. In the center, I'm gonna apply slightly lighter shade. But I don't like the way it looks like. Okay, happens. It was a miss. It definitely was a miss. Now I'm gonna add one more dark shade, but unfortunately it's slightly shimmery. But I don't really have a choice. So taking a little bit, taking off extra, and gonna add it in the center a little bit. And yeah, of course, I'm gonna blend the edge right here. Same thing for the outer corner. Gonna draw a kind of a line right here and blend the edge. And it should be far better right now. Time for outer corner. Starting from the line. And at some point, drawing a wing. At some point, but it's not gonna be a wing. I just need the base. Now it's time to change the side, and I'm gonna start again from the gray shade. Gonna apply it using a small brush and adding the shade in the outer corner. Blending a little bit. And let's try at least this multi-chrome liquid eyeshadow. Gonna add a little bit on my arm and gonna apply using a small brush. And we are gonna add it right here. I don't know how it looks on camera right now, but in the mirror it appears more as pink. And a little bit of green, just a little bit. Back to the darker shade, and I'm gonna add it in the outer corner. Taking off extra again and gonna add a little bit more definition right here. In the inner corner, I'm gonna apply the lightest shade. Gonna add a little bit just for now and blending everything together. Moreover, I'm gonna add this eyeliner in the waterline, but not till the end. Gonna stop right here. Look, it doesn't look pink at all. It appears more silver. Changing the eyeliner, and the darker shade is gonna be right here. It's quite easy to apply it. It's soft, creamy. But yeah, it's not that easy to blend it, as we've noticed today. And we definitely need an inner line. So I'm grabbing the darker shade we used today and gonna draw a small thin line right here. Probably I should have done it using a gel eyeliner. I've decided that we need a little bit more glitter, so I've applied this particular shade right here on top of our metallic shades. And I'm gonna finish eye makeup look slightly later. And we are gonna try this beauty, and it's called Ultra Matte Lip in shade 5th Avenue. Yeah, so I'm gonna apply it right now directly on my lips, but later on I'm gonna fix it slightly. Gonna apply a lip liner. It's quite pigmented. Smells okay, not the best, but not the worst. Product has dried out, so let's take a look. It may transfer, but a little bit, so it's not that bad. Looks quite fine. It's pigmented, but for sure it emphasizes skin texture. So at some point it is expected because it's a liquid matte lipstick, so it's expected. The shade itself is quite nice, and it's slightly cold. It contains a little bit of purple, so it wouldn't work in all the cases, but if you have neutral and cold undertone, so probably it's your choice. But in overall, even if you have warm undertone, it may work, but you have to do some tricks. So I'm gonna finish my eye makeup look, gonna show it to you extremely closely, and we are gonna discuss everything. Let me tell you what I've used today on my lips. As a lip liner, I've used the product from Kiko Milano Festival Glow shade 1, and for sure I've decided to keep our lipstick on my lips in shade 5th Avenue. By the way, the shade itself is quite nice, and these two textures, they kind of work nicely together. And let's start from our lipstick. It's a nice product, actually. I thought it would be worse, but no, it's a nice product. Pigmentation is high, it's easy to apply it. You can layer this product, and actually, there is no need to layer it, because as soon as you apply the first layer, everything is ready, looks nice. And unfortunately, as it's a classic liquid lipstick, it may emphasize texture, especially the lines right here, but it's expected at some point. Moreover, it feels quite nicely on lips. I don't really feel dryness, at least right now. I'm not quite sure what's gonna be in 2-3 hours, but for now, everything is okay. And by the way, I had to reapply it because I had a lunch, and it's quite easy to reapply it. And yeah, I like it. I don't really have any questions to this product, but be aware that it has scent. It's not that bad, but at the same time, it's not that good. So it depends. A bronzer in shade Laguna Beach. Yes. Yes. and I had to layer it over my makeup powder, and it works perfectly. Same thing for the blush. I was able to layer it, and the product is not patchy at all. It's extremely, extremely easy to work with this product. If you are new to makeup, it's definitely your choice, and it's extremely easy to work with it. It's extremely easy to layer it, but unfortunately, you have to use a makeup powder over it, and unfortunately, it wouldn't work in case of oily prone skin. It doesn't stain. So this product is not that super long lasting itself. You have to apply something over it. But in case of normal and dry prone skin, it works perfectly. The shade itself is quite neutral. For sure, it contains a little bit of red, but it's not that super red and super orange. It's more neutral, and the texture is so soft and creamy. Like it. Really, really like it. If you don't want to make an order from the USA and you want to try something more or less familiar, Kike Milano. I have shade 200. The texture is more or less the same, but it's slightly drier. But unfortunately, there is one big problem: the color. Unfortunately, they do have only two shades, and the first one is slightly orange, the second one is slightly dark. So it may work in some cases, but for sure you don't have a big choice. So you have to choose one or the other, and it may work or it may not work for you. For sure, as soon as you order something from Colourpop, you have more choices, and due to this, it's definitely far better. But still, you can play with it, you can try it, and if you like this one, you will definitely like this one. Now it's time to talk about the blush. Same thing, exactly the same thing. It's quite creamy, it's easy to work with it, it doesn't stain, so it's not super long lasting. It would work in case of normal and dry prone skin. In case of oily prone skin or super oily skin, unfortunately, no. Otherwise, it may work, but you will have to use a makeup powder over it plus another blush. Unfortunately, that's the way it works, and there's no other option. I like the shade because it's slightly warm, but it's not that super orange. It's a combo of pink and peach. Looks beautiful, easy to layer, easy to apply. Pigmentation is average, by the way. Pigmentation is average as well. Easy to layer over a makeup powder, just in case you have to. So yes, it's a nice product to try. And by the way, they have a mirror here. Good, great, I would say. And now it's time to move to eye makeup, and we are gonna start from the eyeshadow Stix. I've tried the previous version. If I'm not mistaken, it was released in 20, maybe 20. I'm not quite sure, but it was slightly dry. And this texture is far better. It's amazing. And if you've tried more or less familiar product from Laura Mercier, it's more or less the same, but it costs less. That's the thing. It's easy to work with this product. It's easy to layer it. It's easy to blend it. You don't really have to apply anything over it because it fixes itself, and there's no need to worry about it. I do suggest trying it if you wanna, and if you have a choice for sure. If you live in Europe, take into account that you have to pay the taxes. It's extremely creamy and it's extremely pigmented. So yes, it's definitely yes. I'm impressed. If we talk about metallic shade, unfortunately, there is a problem with my packaging, and time to time I can't take the product out of the packaging. I don't know why. Maybe just a miss or something, whatever. The texture is quite familiar. It's super creamy, it's super soft, and it looks extremely beautiful on eyelid. It doesn't really emphasize skin texture, but for sure it may, especially if you apply a lot, but well, it shouldn't be that bad actually. Like it. Like it, love it. It reminds me some more high-end product, but it costs $10 instead of 25 or 30. Beautiful. But unfortunately, we have to make an order from the USA, pay the taxes. It's so bad, being honest. And all the time when I think about Colourpop, I wish I could try more, but these taxes, so insane. Liquid eyeshadow. When this product was released, and probably it was a collection related to Avatar, I wanted to buy it. But unfortunately, everything was sold out and I had to wait. And finally, I have it. I'm impressed. Really, the texture is thin, it's easy to work with it, it's easy to layer if needed, and it's easy to blend this product. Moreover, it doesn't emphasize skin texture, and it's quite long lasting. I've already tried to wear it, and this particular product, it doesn't crack, it doesn't fall off, it doesn't even roll, so it looks beautiful. And I definitely can see the shift. So it shifts from pink to green and contains a little bit of yellow, not really yellow, more golden. So the shade itself is quite good for daily looks. And yes, yes, it's amazing. I definitely need more shades. Probably what I'm gonna do, I will most likely film several more tutorials as a part of short videos and gonna publish them, but I'm not quite sure where, whether it's gonna be YouTube or TikTok or IG. I'm not quite sure. Somewhere I will publish, because same thing for the eyeshadows. I wasn't able to try all the shades, but we are going to discuss all the shades. But still, I want to show you some possible makeup ideas. Eyeliners, and it's definitely yes. And today is a lucky day because I like all the products we've tried today. It doesn't happen that often, but it happens time to time. Back to our eyeliners. I like both of them. The texture is more or less the same. It's soft, it's creamy, it's easy to apply it in the waterline, and you can definitely layer such products. But unfortunately, it's not that easy to blend them. As you can see, as you actually saw, I've tried to apply it on the lid and I've tried to blend it slightly, and well, you can do it just a little bit, but you can't really use it as the base at some point, or you have to be extremely careful. I do prefer this one just simply because it looks beautiful, and it shifts. It's a multi-chrome and it shifts from dark blue to purple, and it's visible. It's really visible on the eyelid and it's visible in the waterline. But this shade is slightly questionable because it seems it's supposed to be slightly pink, but unfortunately it looks silver on the eyelid or white. It has a little bit of pink, but on the eyelid or in the waterline, it's not visible at all. But in any way, it's a nice shade for daily looks, so that's why I'm gonna say yes to it. But unfortunately, I've expected a slightly different shade. And now we are gonna discuss these two makeup palettes. I'm not gonna have additional videos related to this palette and to this palette, just simply because I'm not quite sure it really makes sense, because these palettes were released almost a year ago, and I don't really think it makes sense. But we are gonna discuss them, and yeah, as I've already told you, I'm gonna probably film some looks using these two palettes and gonna publish them. And we are gonna start from the palette I like less. Cloud 9. For sure I'm gonna explain why I don't really like it. The color story is quite nice. It's cold, and it's a mix of blue and a bit of brown. But unfortunately, I don't really like the quality, and it's a problem. So we do have here some nice shades, and we do have here some, let's say, bad shades. Okay, we are gonna start from matte eyeshadows. Classical formula for Colourpop. They are dusty. They are pigmented. It's easy to work with them. It's easy to blend them, but they are extremely dusty. You have to be careful while applying them, and you have to be careful in order to have a clean makeup look. I mean, if you don't want to have some fall-offs right here in the under eye area, you have to be extremely, extremely careful. But it's wearable, it's blendable, and you can definitely layer these eyeshadows. The shades themselves are quite nice, and we're gonna start from this one. It could be a pure white, but not really. A mix of blue and white, but the main shade is white. This one is more gray, but has a little bit of pink and brown, but the main shade is gray. This one, gray, is the main shade and has a little bit of brown. And if we compare these two shades, this one has a little bit of pink, this one doesn't have. Gray, simply gray, and contains a little bit of blue. This one, it's not a matte eyeshadow. It's a mix of matte plus shimmer. And I hate this formula from Colourpop because it's extremely dusty. And as soon as you apply such shades, you don't have shimmers on your eyelids. Your shimmer is in the under eye area. So that's why I hate this formula extremely. The shade itself is quite nice. It seems black, but it's not black. It's a mix of black and blue. The shade itself is quite beautiful. Talking about metallic shades, they are dry. They are extremely dry. You have to be careful while applying it because some pieces may fall off, and well, it appears quite strange. Moreover, the shades may emphasize texture, which is quite expected at some point, but the shades are nice. We're gonna start from this one, and it seems like this particular shade is the driest. It's white, nothing to it, just simply kind of white, silver white. This one also quite dry, and but not that dry as this one. The shade. Champagne, but a mix of champagne and brown. This one is another formula. It's a mix of metallic and shimmer. Not really shimmer, I would say even more glitter. It looks okay on the eyelid, but at the same time, it looks quite cheap. Sorry, but it seems to me like this. It's just simply my opinion. By the way, we haven't discussed this shade. Same thing. It's a matte plus shimmer. So don't like it. Really. And the shade itself, it's more gray plus a little bit of blue, and the shimmer here is silver. By the way, here we have, what do we have here? Dark blue and a little bit of silver. I'm talking about the shimmer itself. This shade also quite dry, and it's a mix of light blue and silver. Slightly shifts from pink to blue, looks beautiful, but unfortunately the shift is not that visible on the eyelid. And yes, the shade itself is quite dry. And this shade is dark blue plus gray. That's it. That's it. The palette itself, it looks quite nice, but I know that Colourpop may do their job better. And this palette is a work of art. Yes, for sure, it has some drawbacks, but it's far, far better. And moreover, they've changed their matte formula here. Impressed. But yeah, they still have some shadows in the old formula, which is slightly dusty. But here, this, and this, and probably this one as well, it's a new formula. It's not dusty at all. Really, it's not dusty. It's slightly creamy. It's soft, and it reminds me more high-end eyeshadows. So I'm impressed, and the quality of this particular palette is far, far better. And we're going to discuss it. For sure, if we talk about metallics, yeah, they are slightly dry. Yeah, they may emphasize skin texture, but they are right here, they're not that dry as here. Happens. Yeah. I don't know how do they do it, but sometimes it's like you order one palette, then the other one, and they are different. The quality is different. So you have to be really, really careful with Colourpop. So let's discuss. We are going to start from metallics. Why not? White silver, nothing to talk about. And this shade is golden, and it has a little bit of silver glitter inside. By the way, the shade itself is quite beautiful, and it's slightly creamy. This one is drier. This guy, pink plus a little bit of silver, also a beautiful shade, and it contains a little bit of glitter, but the size of this glitter is quite small. This one, the formula is exactly the same, this one. So it's a mix of a metallic shade and a little bit of glitter inside, but this glitter is quite big, and due to this, be extremely careful while taking off your makeup. The shade, it's a mix of bronze and golden. Beautiful shade, and looks quite interesting on the eyelid. And the last metallic from this palette is a mix of gray and brown, and it's slightly dark brown, and also a good shade, and you can use it as a transparent shade. For instance, you use a dark matte eyeshadow in the outer corner, then you take this shade as a transparent shade, and for instance, on the eyelid itself in the center, you can probably apply golden shade, and in this case it would look quite interesting. Now it's time to discuss matte eyeshadows. We are going to start from this one. It's slightly warm. It's slightly orange, and it's a mix of orange plus brown, but for sure the main shade is brown. Looks quite nice and can be used as a crease shade depending on what you're gonna do. This shade, yes, it's definitely yes. It's a mix of gray, pink, and brown. Beautiful crease shade, and for sure, as it contains a bit of gray, it's more a cold shade. This one, pink plus peachy, and also a nice shade itself, and for sure it has more pink than peachy inside, but the shade itself is amazing. Perfect harmony, an interesting shade, and it's a mix of brown, purple, pink, and gray. It's quite cold. And just as a reminder, here we have an old formula, so take it into account. Right path, it's a mix of brown and pink, but the main shade is brown. Also a nice shade, and it seems that it contains a little bit of gray, but not a lot. Classical dark brown. Nothing to say, nothing to add, and it's an extremely neutral brown. And the last shade, it's a mix of matte and shimmer. So yeah, it's the formula that I deeply, deeply hate from Colourpop. The matte shade itself is a mix of dark brown and probably a little bit of black. And the shimmer inside is silver. This palette is far better, and if you want to try something new from Colourpop, try this palette. I know that lots of people think that it's a dupe to Makeup by Mario. No, it's not a dupe. Just let me show it to you. So we are gonna compare several shades, just simply several, because guys, it's not a dupe. It's a fully different palette. Yes, it's a beautiful neutral palette for daily looks, but it's not exactly the same. Really, we have only 3 shades which are slightly familiar, and let's start comparing. So this Pink Beauty from Colourpop. So I'm gonna do swatches side by side. So in this case, you will be able to compare this shade from by Mario. Colourpop, Makeup by Mario. They are not the same. Yes, they look slightly familiar, but I would say that the product from Makeup by Mario contains a little bit more pink, and Colourpop has a little bit more peachiness. The next one is this shade. It's slightly lighter than the product from Colourpop. So from Mario, sorry. Colourpop, Makeup by Mario. Moreover, Mario contains a bit more peachiness than the product from Colourpop. Colourpop contains a little bit more brown. But yeah, in overall, these 2 shades look kind of familiar, but it's only 2 shades out of the whole palette. And the last match is related to the darkest matte shade in this palette. So let's start. Colourpop, Mario. Yes, they do look quite familiar, but the shade from Colourpop seems a little bit more cold than the one from Mario. And that's it. And that's it. Others are extremely, extremely different. And if we talk about metallics, they are fully different. Here we have 3 toppers and only, well, this guy I would say is also kind of a topper. We have only 1 metallic shade, metallic itself, in the palette from Mario. Here we have only metallics. We don't have any toppers, and the texture is different, really. So due to this, I'm so sorry, it's not a dupe, not really. Yeah, there are 3 shades which are slightly familiar, and that's it. And it was our last product for today. So now let's take a look how this beauty looks in several hours. So I have my makeup on almost 11 hours, 10 and a half, and now it's time to check everything out. We are gonna start from the complexion. The bronzer is still on, I can see it. The blush, partially it's still on, but it seems to me that it's slightly it's faded slightly, so depends. Now it's time to check eye makeup. Okay, in the waterline I still have the eyeliners, but it seems like here it slightly disappeared. It was the blue version. Okay, moving on. Seems quite fine. And the eyeshadows haven't fallen off, so it seems okay. And here, same thing. Eye makeup look more or less fine. The lips. I'm afraid this lipstick may peel slightly. Unfortunately, it's quite long lasting, and I can't really say that it's super dry. It's fine to wear it, but it may peel. Please let me know down below what do you think about the products we've tried today, and have you tried them already or not? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if yes, please don't forget to put a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'm wishing you a pleasant day and hope to see you soon in the next video. Ciao ciao!